There is a genre of modelling that hypothesizes a continuation of World War II. In fact, not unlike the TV series Man in the High Castle. In my what-if scenario, German scientists did manage to produce advanced weapons in enough quantities to push the Allied forces out of Germany, forcing them back into France and Belgium in late 1946, and the war raged on. In response, the Americans dropped a nuclear bomb on Munich early in 1947. Germany retaliated with a nuclear bomb from a long-range Arado 555 jet-powered bomber and devastated Manhattan. Several bombs were then dropped by both the British and the Americans. Germany retaliated, firing nuclear-tipped V-3 rockets at London. There were then further nuclear strikes by both sides. No missiles were fired towards the east, as the Soviet advance had long since halted at the Dneiper River due to the start of the Russian Military Coup, the overthrow of Stalin, and the beginning of a second Russian Revolution. They took no further part in the war against Germany. The Japanese had long since surrendered in 1945 after 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The face of warfare had changed forever. Several European cities were reduced to rubble, and radiation clouds floated throughout mainland Europe with little regard for borders. Countries were being poisoned by radiation from their own weapons. On the 17th of November 1947, the Stockholm Accord, banning any further use of nuclear weapons, was mutually agreed to by both the Allied and the Axis forces before the entire planet was left a smoking, radioactive ruin. Both sides returned to conventional warfare, or so it seemed. But the Nazis, under Hitler's evil direction, began experimenting with a new strain of diabolical chemical weapons in an effort to try to get ahead of their enemies. Tanks were no longer viable in urban fighting due to the vast amount of rubble everywhere, so both sides now used much smaller machines mounted on mechanical legs instead of the huge, ungainly 60-ton heavy tanks that had become the norm back in 1945. The German Wehrmacht employed small mobile one-man Maschinenkrieger, nicknamed MAKs, incorporated into small, highly specialized squads consisting of troops armed with STG-44 automatic rifles mounted with infrared sights for night fighting and the trusty MP-40 submachine gun. Each squad also carried the Fliegerfaust, a portable anti-aircraft weapon. These 12-man units, most of them wearing their distinctive camouflage, also included a forward scout equipped with a jetpack and a heavy weapons trooper armed with either a single or dual MG-42 machine gun pack, quite often, as here, clad in the more durable traditional field grey uniform. This brings us to my diorama. A major Allied bombing raid has partially damaged an old secret Nazi research establishment in the Ruhr Valley that was pioneering a new strain of chemical weapons. Large chunks of masonry have been dislodged from the heavily reinforced roof of the building, fallen, and fractured several of the tanks that contain the liquids and gases used in the manufacture of the Nazis' experimental biological weapons. The subsequent pressure buildup has also caused leaks in many other parts of the complex. Communication has been lost with the center, which was guarded by a 50-strong garrison from one of the regular static divisions. A single radio transmission begging for help from a communications officer was abruptly cut off. But the final words heard above the sounds of guttural screams and automatic gunfire were "Die Toten leben," which translates as "The dead are alive." No further transmissions were received. A nearby elite MAK team, veterans of the Second Battle of Antwerp, was urgently redirected to the research center, and what they found was beyond their wildest nightmares. All but a handful of the garrison, the scientists and the staff, have been contaminated by a combination of viruses released by the damage from the attack. The site is now overrun with the undead, flesh-eating zombies. One of them has already mutated into an even more frightening monstrosity, a winged creature who is eyeing the scene, looking towards the trooper in the jetpack as an airborne rival. The rescue squad doesn't yet realize that the injured soldiers that they save, bitten by the undead, will soon turn and come after them. The squad, are in for the fight of their lives. They're also unaware that the explosions that they cause while defending themselves will help make the virus airborne, causing it to spread, carried by the wind. A virus that first kills you, then reanimates you. Within a few short weeks, it will spread all over Europe, and in 6 months, half the planet. World War II will come to an abrupt halt, because the zombie war has begun.
From the leading name in biotechnology comes Regenerate, a breakthrough from the Umbrella Corporation.
My name is Alice. I worked for the Umbrella Corporation. There was an accident, and everybody died. The trouble was, they didn't stay dead.
In the pursuit of human perfection, accidents will happen.